And it is 12 p.m. Wednesday, October 22nd. And how lame am I for introducing myself on my show? It's Chase Holden. That was the lamest intro I ever gave myself. What is up? Welcome to Motorsport Report, the place where we talk about all racing news live on the internet. I'm happy to have you. If it's your first time here, welcome. If not, what's up? It's good to see you again as well. On this show, what we like to do here is discuss about all the racing topics happening from NASCAR, IndyCar, very minimal F1 talk, and when we have to, we might have a little bit of it today. Who knows? We're also going to be talking to Jeff Gluck today as well about the 2311 FRM versus NASCAR lawsuit. So that's going to be something that I'm excited to get to talk with Jeff about. Happy to have Jeff on the program, the new live show. We're still getting the bearings rolling, so it's awesome to have someone like Jeff, who is very well informed and in deep in the NASCAR news circus, as we like to call it, to come and break some things down for us, because there's a lot happening in that case. There was some updates released yesterday, so I'm really excited to get into that, and also just to see, where his mind is on the current landscape of racing. So stick around for that. We'll have Jeff on at around 12:30 today, and after we get done talking about racing news, once we get done talking with Jeff, we are going to be previewing Martinsville. So if you're a gambler, you like to gamble like I do, kind of a risk taker, kind of a well-known risk taker, we're going to be diving all into the odds for Martinsville so that you and I both can make a little bit of money this weekend. But I think we all know that we're probably leaning towards Ryan Blaney right now. I mean, the guy is just phenomenal at the paperclip, so we're going to see how that goes. But if you are new here, hop in the chat. Let me know what's up. Also, another big part of this show is we have a live hotline where you can call in anytime during the show, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that number right now. 980-317-8717 is the number to call. You can get those calls in. Tell me what's on your mind. Take me off of my news rail, off of my little legal pad that I have here. Take me off of my legal pad. Tell me something maybe I don't know. Give me some information. This is the new hub of live information in racing as we continue to grow this channel. Also, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. It all helps. I'm not one to beg, but I will ask. I've always been told my entire life, the worst someone can say is no. So please like and please subscribe. So we'll put it that way. Let's get things kicked off today as we await some phone calls coming in, if we do have any today. What I want to start with on today's show is a piece of news that we've got. Oh, never mind. We're not starting with a piece of news. We're starting with a caller. Motorsport Report, you are live.
Hey, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Who do we have? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Zach from Alabama.
Zach from Alabama. It's good to hear from you. I'm going to take these off because I can hear you out here. Zach, what is on your mind this week in the world of racing?
Well, the number 10 hit a pick remember.
Yes, that did happen. I did see that. There's a lot of debate online about that. I think Bozy was online. He was talking a little bit about it. What do you have to say about that?
It's kind of like a bad move, really. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. He should have done it, but like, I mean, like something like that, you should be fired over.
You think that Ty Dillon should be fired for hitting a tire coming out of the pits?
Well, yeah, because like,
and is there? But let me stop you. Is there anything else that may have happened over the last few weeks that may have also made you want Ty Dillon to be fired? Is there any pre-existing hate of Ty Dillon before we get into this? I need to know.
I don't hate him. I just think he did a bad move.
Yeah, No, definitely. I mean, that happens sometimes. Sometimes when you're pulling out, mistakes can happen. That obviously was one. Now, this was probably one of the worst people it could have happened to because of the move with William Byron the week before, where he basically was supposed to be pitting and Byron just plowed into him. That got a lot of people mad and upset about Ty Dillon. So the Dillon boys, not necessarily Austin, but Ty himself has definitely been a hot topic of conversation. So that happening to him this week did not help him at all. However, the tire was there. It was within the box. When he did go pull out, you could make the argument that it was in his way or not in his way. Either way it goes, the car pulled out, it happened. But my question being is because you say he should be fired for that, and I want to know if you have maybe had any pre-existing dislike because people have made mistakes a lot on pit road.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't hate the guy. I think he made a bad move, but
do you really think he should be fired?
I don't know. Maybe
I can't agree. I can't agree with he should be fired for that. Now, do I think that it's 2 weeks where he's been involved in some kind of controversial shit? Absolutely. But I don't know if I would say that he should be fired. But we do have a lot that we're going to be covering on the show today. Zach, do you have anything else for us? Any other new news, interesting news from the F1 IndyCar world, anywhere else?
Well, United States Grand Prix this past weekend. Max Verstappen win, and he's spurred in the points now.
Yep. Talladega beat it in ratings.
Yeah.
Yep. By like 1 million people.
Yeah, I mean that's good for the NASCAR side of things.
Absolutely.
Formula One's kind of declined in viewership recently.
They're about to have a big decline, except for people that have Apple TV. That's coming up too. We'll talk about a little bit about that on the show.
I know. Yeah.
Well,
I know my uncle. He has Apple TV, so I'm going to ask him for his account.
Okay.
So I can get to watch Formula One.
See, that's the problem. That's the whole problem. I mean, it's just. But how long before Apple realizes your uncle gave you his login and password?
I don't know.
You ever thought about that?
No, but that's the only way I can actually use Apple TV.
It's a big dang, dude. It's a big dang. Well, anything else, Zach?
Well, not really. Well, the Xfinity race, whoever won it, flipped off the fans.
Yep, that was a big topic of discussion as well that we were going to talk about is Austin Hill. Do you think that it was right for Austin Hill to flip off the fans, or do you agree more with what he was saying?
I think he shouldn't done it because, I mean, fans are the ones showing up to the track and making NASCAR paychecks, and
yep.
NASCAR needs money to pay him when he wins.
Yeah. These are all good points, Zach. Was there anything else that you have?
Not really.
All right. Well, Zach, thank you so much for calling, brother. We appreciate it as always. That was Zach from Alabama calling in with some hot topics. Let's start by talking a little bit about some of those topics. Obviously, the Ty Dillon incident, the way you want to look at it, I feel like it's a pretty quick, easy thing to do. Tire was there. He hit it. Someone could have got really hurt. Penalty could be issued for it. It was issued. There was a penalty issued, I believe, in the race. Problem solved. Going forward, though, I mean, will Ty Dillon remain a hot topic of discussion is something that we have yet to see. So that's always going to be fun to look at and see how Ty Dillon's story continues to develop as we go on. But lots to talk about in the Talladega race. Obviously, there's been a lot of podcasts that have been released. I'm sure some of you people have listened to those podcasts, heard these opinions, heard these things. We're going to try to keep it fresh, and we're going to try to keep it new. So what we're going to talk about right now is some new news that dropped today, which is NBC got 2.556 million viewers for Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega. Adam Stern put it out. Also thought it was hilarious that we had to wait for ratings to drop because everything else on the internet this week, if you know anything about tech or keep up with anything in the AWS world, servers went down. I think it was US East 1, goes down. So interesting to find out that information is also hosted on AWS US East 1. That's the server that went down. So the internet kind of like low-key died. For most people that were paying attention this weekend, you would know about that. If not, basically just RIP to the server. And now we've got the updated analytics, though. But the beautiful part of it was that ABC Network got 1.5 million for Sunday's F1 USGP at COTA, not including pre-race. So beat it by over $1 million. Hell yeah, NASCAR is back. And when NASCAR is on big network television, this is what happens, okay? We've got NASCAR now going to be on NBC for Talladega. That's in the books. We've got Martinsville coming up, and then we have Phoenix coming up. So that's going to be big for Dega, big for NASCAR, big for playoffs, if you will. And we can talk a little bit about that, too, because there was some comments. If you listen to the Dale Jr. download, you heard a little bit about him talking about Talladega being a fuel-saving race. And while I feel like, I've been trying to put my finger on what's going on with NASCAR now for about the last, couple of years. It felt like, I remember I talked to you guys about this all the time. It felt like when we were in the beginning of 2023, things seemed to really kind of be ramping up for NASCAR. We were all kind of excited about the future of the Gen 7. And then we started to see some issues that were popping out. Well, 2024, it kind of feels like things stagnated, and it's kind of bled into 2025. So I've been working diligently trying to figure this out, and I can go ahead and pull up the browser tab over here because there's something that I feel like needs to be looked at and discussed, and hopefully I bookmarked this tweet because if not, I'm going to have to go find it. But I found an account that was recently talking about some of the old races, and they put up video footage of the old races that we would have in like Talladega and just some of the racing. And I don't have it bookmarked, but you can go and look at some of the races that we watched in the early 2000s, late 90s, and it looked like they were fucking chariots on fire, sword fighting on a super speedway. At least for me, from my perception of racing, it was straight up sword fighting at over 200 miles an hour, all instinct, all strategy. That's the same kind of excitement that you would get out of like an Indy 500. Super speedway racing in general, Daytona, Talladega, Indy 500, that is chariots on fire, sword racing, human instinct, battle, chess. That's what it is. So they're talking about the fuel mileage issue and why all these guys are just kind of staying stacked up. They're half throttle. The big clips that were all over social media this weekend are like, oh, is the fuel mileage race, would Dale Sr. be telling him to go half throttle out there at Talladega or anything like that? What people I am learning, a lot of race fans maybe fail to realize, trying to put their finger on what is wrong with the racing, what is happening with the racing. This is evolution, dude. This is evolution, and this is what happens when big tech, AI systems, things like that get into racing. And teams want to win. They're going to optimize for performance. And when I say optimize, that means what is the best possible way to win a race? What is the best possible way to do something? When you optimize, things can get a little cold and mechanical. So what I think that most people have to really start to understand is why I'm a big advocate for AI. I talk about AI and stuff like that all the time. I like tech. I'm a curious human being. I like to explore things, and I'm always asking questions. I'm never truly like in this place where like I know everything. This is all I know, and that's the way it goes. Like I'm just not that kind of a person. I'm a curious person. I want to learn, and I want to continue to learn as I grow until the day that I die. what I'm finding is that the way that the Cup car is, you look at F1 and you look at NASCAR. NASCAR was really kind of like trying to push into that new tech innovation side of things. But I feel like where we found or may have found ourselves in a position now is truly connecting with the fans on understanding what is it that straps us to our seat during a race. What is it that we want to watch? What is it about each track and how these tracks can progress and how these tracks can change? What are the things that make us like racing? And if we all come to this firm understanding of what it is that we like, then we can start to optimize for that and not so much about whatever the teams have to do to get the win. So this fuel saving shit is just because of how this next-gen car is and how these teams are able to figure things out with all of the advanced technology that we have in the sport now. So it's just a really interesting little nugget that I found, and I may end up doing a video about it at some point so I can dig in a little bit more of the specifics of it all. But it's just been, it took up most of my morning because I was sitting here and I was planning the show out and I was getting everything ready to go live with you guys. And I really just started diving into that. And over the last couple of days, I really have been, and I've been trying to really just understand what is it going to take? What are we going to have to do to get back to what we all liked? And there is a way to do that. I don't think it's saving gas at Talladega by any means, because what we want to see at super speedways, what we want to see at big tracks like that is human instinct on display. So however we can optimize better for human instinct, whether that be the driver, the team, the crews, all of that being on display is what created that chaotic beauty, that chaotic dance that super speedway racing was. And I'm not saying like all tech needs to get out of racing. You need to kill tech in racing by any means, but work with what we have now to optimize for that to be better. And I just wanted to bring that up. And I know that if you're just joining in, you might be like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? I'm basically just saying that I'm starting to really, really understand at like the core fundamental levels of like how things are. And where we truly are, where we are truly sitting right now in the racing world with all the technology that we have, really trying to understand that on the deepest possible levels that I can and then relay them in a way to where people can understand that I myself can understand that. That's kind of like been my big passion, my big thing that I've been driven by lately. So I say all that because we have a lot of these talking points and a lot of these topics, but I do think that eventually you can get to a point to where things can be easier and things can be better. And maybe that's by looking at, all of this very top tech shit that we have in the Cup series, maybe not so much on the Xfinity and the truck level, but we have this top tech shit in the Cup area. Okay. Maybe we start to look at ways that we can maybe take some of that tech out at some of these other tracks to create a product that the fans most want to see. Maybe we look at ways to dance around it like that. You're never going to be able to take the tech out of racing. You're never going to be able to take evolution out of racing. We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to get better. But there's a big difference between what F1 racing is and what NASCAR racing is and what IndyCar racing is. And I feel like at the heart of it, human instinct is what drives racing at the end of the day. It's human instinct. And so really come into this understanding of it all. You don't want things to get too mechanical because then you end up with kind of that fuel-saving shit that you had at Talladega. You want it to get back to that chaotic dance and that human instinct-led understanding. And the closer that we can get to that, the closer that we can get back to that excitement on the super speedways like we had back in late 90s, early 2000s. So I'll probably do a video on that to go a little bit more in depth on it because I want to make sure that I cover all of my points correctly. And I want to make sure that I walk through it as easily the easiest way that I can explain it as possible. Because I, like many race fans out there, just want to see racing continue to thrive, continue to be great, and to also be able to change and roll with the times. By the way, this show is brought to you by NOS Energy. It's kind of fuel for for my body. It should be fuel for yours as well. Kind of gets you going in the morning. So go to the store, tell them Chase sent you, get a nice energy. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up with them. Speaking of fun stuff coming up with them, I did see online where cars were on track at the Charlotte dirt track. And that's where I will be. I don't know if you guys are in town or if you're coming to Charlotte for the World Finals. World of Outlaws World Finals. There'll be dirt racing, sprint car racing. Just be there, dude. Be there. It's going to be fun. We're going to be checking that out. But in about 10 minutes here, we're going to have Jeff Gluck coming on, so we have a little bit more time. If you haven't yet, hop in the chat, say what's up. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, or give us a call, 980-317-8717. Want to talk a little bit now about, it's good to see that the ratings are going up. We got Martinsville coming up this weekend. We're back on network television. That's all good. But the getting to some other news nuggets that happened this week. Obviously, Chase Briscoe winning at Talladega, an incredible display of just human instinct right there, maybe one would say. Kyle Larson, they didn't get the fuel window right. He dipped out. At first glance, I looked at it as I didn't really know what happened, to be honest. I just straight up saw Larson dip out of the pack, and that kind of reshuffled things there on that inside. Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, they were able to get down there on that low end, and they were able to get that push to victory. JGR is looking lethal. JGR is looking very lethal right now going into the playoffs as Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe are both set and ready to roll. So now it's going to really push us into a place to where we have to think a little bit differently maybe going into Martinsville. And if it wasn't already bad enough, now we have to worry about, well, what is this new left side tire going to do? How is that going to change the racing? How is that going to make things look? So there's a lot that the teams, a lot that the drivers have to look at going into this weekend. Goodyear's been doing a hell of a job putting on, a show, really, for us with this car, doing the most that they can to make this car perform in a way where the fans love it and the drivers themselves love it. It's just presenting new strategies, and these are all parts and ways that racing is evolving right now. So it's an awesome thing to see. One thing that I'm excited to see, though, really is just if we actually have a Martinsville race that resembles that of severe tire fall off. Because if you remember those races at the Paperclip in the late 90s, early 2000s, those were some wild-looking events. So Bristol was phenomenal this year. We talked a long time about, will we see Goodyear bring a tire like that? And I don't know, they're saying maybe it's going to be a little more like the compound that they had at New Hampshire, but something to still look into and something to still be excited about this weekend. If you're a NASCAR fan in the NASCAR Cup Series. Some other some nuggets, though, that the big thing that I think that we're all worried about, we're all kind of concerned about right now is Penske. Because Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, they did not fare well at Talladega by any means. Everybody was trying to figure out that fuel strategy shit, which I don't know. I just... It's Joey Logano. Even my own dad said it. Anybody but Logano, right? Even my own father was on our live stream that we had on Sunday when we were calling the race, which, by the way, anybody that is joining us here today had a lot of fun with you on Sunday. But I will say that they're in a very tough position if you are on the internal point. They're all going to be looking at it very critically. From an external point, though, and from a statistics point, I don't think they have much to worry about if they load all the eggs into Ryan Blaney's basket. Because Ryan Blaney is the only driver at Penske right now that has 2 wins at Martinsville in the next-gen era. Joey hasn't won there since 2018, so it's been a minute. Now, what is that tug-of-war going to look like internally this week? I don't know. But what I will say is that they know that Ryan Blaney is probably their best shot into the playoffs right now. And I think that maybe I don't speak for everyone, but looking at it just unbiased as possible, Blaney is their best chance to make it. So that's one thing that I know that will be discussed once we get into the Martinsville preview and looked into that. But It's tough. It's a tough break for them coming off of Talladega the way that they did, man. Because I think a lot of people had it in their mind that like Joey Logano, Penske, they were going to find a way to win it because both Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano are two great superspeedway racers. So to see Logano and them not be able to perform, it's pretty crazy. We've got David Brinkman entering the chat. Chase, glad to have a break at work to tune in, man. Love seeing you reach new heights. Appreciate that, David. Thanks so much, man. Glad to have you in the chat. Usually we got the chat. It's been a little bit slower as the fall sets in, as everybody gets back into their work routines. And I'm actually looking at potentially moving this show to a better day so that we can have a little bit more engagement, have a little more fun. I think maybe Wednesdays can kind of be more of a dead day for people. So Mondays and Tuesdays is what we're looking at now. My schedule could make it work on a Monday. Maybe that's something we look into going in the future. But always good to see people hopping in and chatting. Matt Hums, what is up, dude? Vegas here. What's good, dude? Good to see you, dude. Yeah, man, we've a lot of the guys from the Race Cards Live show coming in. It's awesome. Should I change my name to Taco Truck Dave on here too? Yeah, it's potential. You missed the pack ripping though, brother. You missed the pack ripping. The pack ripping is happening on us on Sundays now during the race. We do the caution sweepstakes, so you'll have to tune in for that. And if you choose the correct driver that is going to bring out the caution or is the main character of the caution, you win a pack. I got some I got to go mail out today actually. So always good to see the boys hopping in and saying what's up. But you know, Penske's got big challenges coming up this weekend. Another big one is Kyle Larson. Can he be a threat? He didn't look, he looked good at Talladega. Maybe in the last couple of races at Martinsville haven't really gone his way, and we'll dig into more of that as well later on the show. But for the one thing that I do know that is happening tomorrow on Thursday that we can all get ready for here coming up is the 2311 versus FRM lawsuit that is going down. So preliminary hearing is happening, I believe, tomorrow. They went in, and I had some news pieces up, and that's why we have Jeff coming on today, because I just wanted to really hear from him to get the full scoop and understanding of what's actually playing out and what is the most realistic outcome for this court case, because it's been on everybody's mind. Everybody's been wondering, like, how is this going to shake out? So there was a video that Adam Stern dropped 19 hours ago that was saying that the council said they have agreed with NASCAR to resume settlement talks tomorrow. So that was happening today. And so that's really what we know as of right now. So they'll have a summary judgment hearing on Thursday. So there it is. Spire announcement in 1 hour, says Matt Hums. Yeah, they got the big Spire announcement coming out today. A lot of people are pretty much leaning in the direction that Daniel Suarez is going to be joining Spire. So we will actually get some truth to that. I'll be on the lookout for that probably right around the time that we let Jeff go. So, yeah, you guys get in the chat. Once Jeff hops on in here, you guys will be able to kind of get some comments in. If you have some questions towards the end, I might be able to do that. So I'm just really excited to kind of get a better understanding myself, because I've been looking at all of this from the outside looking in. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to school for law. I don't understand this shit. I'm trying to make the most of it that I can, just like everybody else out here. But there's been a lot of crazy things pop up. There's been a lot of news nuggets that we've talked about. There's been a lot of text messages that have been shared. And the big thing is here is, like, do we really want to see a world where NASCAR has to basically put everything out on the table? Matt Holmes says, I got $1 that Jeff misses me. All right. Well, we'll definitely have to ask him about it before he pops off. But as we're talking about that, I've got a new way that we're doing things today on this program, because we have had straight up just bonk outs the last couple of guests that we've had when they were joining. So today things will probably be a little bit different when it comes to how we manage the actual interview. So things are maybe a little bit off today. You may notice that things are a little bit different, a little bit strange. It's because I'm a little bit nervous because I'm trying to make sure that this all works correctly. So Jeff should be hopping on here any minute now, and then we're going to transition over. So let's see if we can get this going. All right, so now we're going to have to basically frame everything up. What is up, Jeff? We're live right now. I'm about to get us framed up. This is my first time doing Riverside on the live stream because the last couple of weeks it's been weird trying to get everything set up, and we don't want to lose you today because the Streamlabs thing has been nuts because we've had these issues where we would lose people in the middle of them talking, and we just don't want that to happen today.
You use Streamlabs? Is that what you usually use?
Yeah, Streamlabs is what we're typically using. So
I haven't used that one. I like Riverside for stuff like this. This is good for live streams. StreamYard, we use StreamYard a lot for the teardown.
Absolutely. So it should have you live. Can we get somebody in the chat to make sure that Jeff is here with us? Because you're here on my end. I've got you loud and clear. I want to make sure that the rest of the chat can see you too. So self-production, Jeff. That's what we're doing now.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. So we've got everything set up. Everything should be good.
Hi, everybody. If you could see me then. Hello.
There he is. He's here. So first thing I wanted to really talk with you about, for one, thank you for coming on the live stream on the show. I know that it's a very busy time in NASCAR right now, especially off the track because of the lawsuit that's happening. Can you kind of get everybody up to speed on where we are today and what we have to look forward to going into tomorrow?
It's a pretty big week, really, because, and I think even as we speak right now, the fact that they are still in the settlement conference is a pretty good sign. So they did this settlement conference yesterday because the first time they tried to settle or talk things through in New York, they only did it one time. It apparently went terrible. So they got this guy that had helped them in New York, and then they got with the judge from the trial who has been warning them, like, man, either you think you guys are going to win this, like you guys are in for a surprise, because like there's not going to be any winners here, basically. So they all got in a room yesterday, and I mean, I think it went past 5 p.m. or something. And you know, I have this lawyer friend who I keep asking questions to, like, what does this mean that they're going so long? And first they were like, it doesn't really mean anything because they have to show the judge that they're both negotiating in good faith. Like if one side comes and they're not, the judge isn't going to like that. So they're like, it's not really surprising they're making it a whole day yesterday doing this whole settlement thing. But the fact that they came out yesterday and they're like, all right, you know what? We're coming back tomorrow. We're all going to keep talking tomorrow. That apparently changes things. That's like, okay, well, they might be in the same universe now, at least on like being willing to talk and see what they come up with. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to settle before the trial, but at least they're somewhat in the same ballpark or in the same universe. So
yeah.
Now tomorrow, if they don't settle, which I you know, are they really going to settle today? Maybe. I mean, I guess there's more of a chance than yesterday, but if they get to tomorrow, the arguments that are in front of the judge tomorrow is really going to reshape how this goes December 1st, if it gets trial or not, right? Because basically the judges got to decide, for one thing, on NASCAR. NASCAR countersued the teams, right? The teams sued and they're like, you guys are an illegal monopoly. Your antitrust thing, we need to break you up. You know, this is, the government needs to step in here. You know, jury needs to convict you guys, all this stuff, right? And so then NASCAR countersued and they're like, you guys colluded with each other illegally. You know, you tried to make this negotiation crap all go on and do stuff you shouldn't have. And so if the judge throws NASCAR's countersuit out, then when they get to the trial on December 1st, it's just about NASCAR, right? It's only about, is NASCAR a monopoly or not?
Yeah.
If the judge tomorrow hears this and doesn't throw out NASCAR's countersuit, then the trial on December 1st is not just is NASCAR monopoly, but also did the teams do some shady stuff in negotiations? And then that means Michael Jordan's going to be on the stand, right? All the texts about the negotiations, all that's going to be out there. If the trial is just about did NASCAR try to stifle the competition or not, that's a whole different thing. And I don't know if the judge throws out NASCAR's countersuit, I'm not a legal expert. I would think, from what I understand, that would then put NASCAR a lot more toward, okay, we probably need to settle this thing because we don't want that to just be the only question here. Now, I don't, you still have two really, really, really stubborn sides here, right? Like Michael Jordan has said, I'm willing to fight all the way to the end. And I believe that. Like, if Michael Jordan loses, he's out at what, $100 million, $200 million, maybe? I don't know.
That's a gambling weekend for him, dude.
It's decent, but like, he's going to be like, all right, well, I wanted to have a race team. I wanted to do something competitive. I wanted to do something to keep my competitive juices flowing. I thought this would be a good way to do it. I love NASCAR. I watch races, but this model is just stupid, and I can't run my business like this anyway. I lost my charters. All right, bye. We're leaving the sport. If NASCAR loses, though, the whole sport could look completely differently, because the judge is like, well, I mean, I could make you sell the tracks. I could make you sell all the racetracks. I could make you get an independent officiating body so that you're not, like, who knows what he could do, right? Because he's the same lawyer that got the NCAA NIL deal that completely changed the face of college sports. So we just saw what happened with this, right? Like, so this could change the face of NASCAR too. So anyway, that was more than what you asked, but that's I think where things stand at the moment.
No, it's good, dude. Like I need all of the knowledge and understanding that I can get, because I'm just looking at this from the inside or from the outside looking in. And I have my own judgments about it for sure, about like kind of how I think that the headspaces are, just from what I do know. So like you were saying with Michael, it's like for him, it's just he's riding the wave all the way out. But a lot of people were asking, like, yeah, we want to see it go to trial. We want to see it go all the way down to the wire. And I don't think that people realize that would really probably cripple NASCAR in some ways more than actually help NASCAR. A lot of the fan base, anyway, that I've seen do that. And the way that I look at Michael right now is that I do believe that he wants fairness, obviously, but he probably has a vision like a lot of other people do for the sport. And so it's almost like we're at this crossroads where it's a lot louder on the 2311 FRM side than the NASCAR side right now. What do you think the world looks like? Let's say that, 2311, this goes all the way and then they win. What does the NASCAR landscape turn into at that point?
Yeah, I mean, look, you've gotten a taste of it with your IndyCar experience, and I think what happened this was before I was around, but from what I understand, pre-split, IndyCar is like NASCAR today. Like, it was the number one dominant form of motorsports in the U.S. And once the split happened, it crippled both of those series, and they ended up remerging. But by the time they remerged, NASCAR had taken that spot, and now all IndyCar wants to do is try to get more relevance and more prominence again and try to get back to where they were. But the door is closed. I mean, I think this could lead to some sort of split, or like, I get the, from my standpoint, I'd be like, man, a trial would be juicy because you'd see all the NASCAR financials, and we'd get the most inside look at the curtain, behind the curtain we've ever could possibly imagine. All the text, everybody on the stand testifying, Jim France on the stand. Are you kidding me? Like,
what a time. Televise it,
but the problem is, like what does the future look like? And I think the future, if it goes all the way, could look like a PGA live golf type split.
And that was what was in the text too. That Steve O'Donnell was texting.
I think NASCAR being worried about that is relevant, right? Because like the Saudis could come in, or somebody with oil money, and be like, yeah, we want you to come over and do a stock car series here. We don't care about attendance. We will, you come over, we'll build you an oval, and then you can do some other races. Money is no object. We just care about, TV viewership and sponsorship and whatever. And they'll try to overpay and get some of the stars. And then some of the teams will say, no, we're going to stay with NASCAR. We're loyal. And it would be ugly, and it would ruin basically what we think of as NASCAR now. So I really don't think people want that. And certainly the teams don't want that. I don't think the drivers want that. And that's why there's like a lot of uncertainty and hand wringing of like, can you guys just settle this? At the same time, the teams are like, can you give us permanent charters? Like, could you do that? Because I think that would make this go away, and probably would have made this go away before. There's all these outside investors that want to come in. Like, I've heard this from so many people, like, and I don't take this as a slam to women's soccer, but like the NWSL women's soccer teams are worth far more than the highest NASCAR charter value right now. And like, that's for a franchise. But their games are on like CBS Sports Network, I think. You've got NASCAR, like, yes, it is declined from where it was, but you're still talking, 2 million viewers a week, 1.5 million viewers a week, even against the NFL, on Fox, on NBC, on Prime, good TV deal, big sponsors, big backing behind it, solid fan base. And so there's private equity people looking at it. They're like, dude, if we could see this as an investment and we knew this was like, we could grow this. Yeah, charters are worth like 50 million right now. Dude, they could be worth 100 million, 150 million. We'll come in. But people don't want to come in if you're going to take them away from us in 7 years. Look at and the NASCAR's like, yeah, but we wouldn't do that. The teams are like, yeah, you just took them.
Yeah.
We didn't sign it. Now they're gone,
Right.
We're out of the sport. Like, and so, and these are, these are worth 50 million each or whatever. So I just think, even if NASCAR was like, how about 20-year terms or something? But Jim France told the teams, like, look, I can't commit to you for a charter deal longer than the media rights deal is, because I don't know what the money's going to look like. And the teams are like, yeah, but NBA, NFL, like, they renegotiate their media rights deals all the time. They don't lose their franchises.
Right.
So I just think the teams are looking for some stability, a bigger voice, obviously more money. But, I don't think it's that far off. But Jim France is a stubborn man. And it seems like from, the Steve O'Donnell texts and email that has come out and stuff, I think other people within the NASCAR walls sort of are be like, yeah, man, this isn't really the best deal here, Yeah. And obviously they have to have a united front, but like, I think Jim France is the one that's sort of like, hey, my dad did it this way. My brother did it this way. This is my last negotiation. I'm not going to ruin my family business. I'm not going to hand it over to the teams. I'm willing to drive this off the cliff if I have to.
Or that's so wrong, dude, because it's so much more than just, I know it's technically their thing, but it's NASCAR is like everybody's thing. And there's a big fan base out there.
The France family, it's always been like, this is our sandbox. You're welcome to play in it, but this is our business. What we say goes. You play by our rules. And I think that they feel if they give the teams permanent charters, they give the teams too much power, because then the teams have a seat at the table. They're dictating the direction of the sport. NASCAR wants to be the one that is saying, this is how things are going to go. You guys you have a voice. We'll get your feedback on these various councils, but you guys need to fall in line, because that's how we've always done it.
It is authoritarian, low key.
Yeah. I don't know if after Jim France, that's how they'll do it. I don't know if Ben Kennedy seems a lot more like open-minded and kind of like gets sort of the modern approach more. I don't know if he would be as stubborn, but Jim France, he's the one calling the shots still,
Yeah. Stubbornness is typically what usually ends up being the ruination of a lot of things, man. Being able to find that common ground. And that's the way I've always looked at it. A lot of people are talking about what this, like, where will this go? And I've always felt like as long as Michael and Denny feel like they're getting what they want and what's fair for not just them but for everyone else, and they will settle and they'll figure that out. But it's just now we're waiting. Well, is that what NASCAR wants to do? So it's like I feel like the public is all on the side of the teams right now for this, and I feel like it's been this may be one of the most pivotal cases in racing history that we're living through right now. And that's the way it's felt for me.
You're right. Dude, I always struggle with this, right? Because from a media standpoint, you get a lot of pushback when you be like, this is the biggest thing ever, or this is the biggest whatever over the years. I'm talking about anything. Oh, this is the biggest race, or this is the best driver. Like, people that consume media don't like it when they're told, they feel like it's too much hyperbole or too much hype. I really think this is one of the biggest stories in NASCAR history.
Mm-hmm.
And like for the reasons you just talked about and we just discussed, like, if this goes to trial, this really could be like
split time,
a key moment. I mean, this is huge. So I don't think we'd be doing it justice if we undersold it. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to oversell it too, but like, people within the industry are like, oh shit.
Yeah, this isn't just playing around anymore. Like, this is something very serious, and it is. I mean, it'll take time. I mean, nobody really, I don't think a lot of people really understand what they're going through when they're going through it. And then when you look back 10, 20 years down the road, you're like, holy shit, that was a big deal. But yeah, like Wyatt here in the chat was saying, if we see a trial in December, that would be insane. And I think it would be too. I don't think this is going to go there. And I hope that I'm right. Because if it does, I mean, for one, obviously we'll have a lot to talk about. You and I will have a ton to talk about, but at the same time, you don't ever want to see something that you love so dearly just eat itself from the inside out. That's
right. I mean, I remember at the last hearing, I'm not going to be there tomorrow, unfortunately. I wish I was, but travel's just, if I'm going to be there for all of December, I need to pick my travel budget a little.
Yeah, keep your zen right now out there in Rado, dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But in the last hearing, the judge is basically like, yeah, the teams are like, you guys are asking me to give your charters back, if you win, basically, or keep the charters on the table, keep enough charter spots that if you win, that you'll be able to get them back as part of the payment out for your winning the case, right? But he's like, you don't even know if there's going to be a charter system, because I could completely blow up the judge is like, you might be asking for this as part of whatever you win for the trial as your damages, but I can do whatever I want. I'm the judge, so I need to do what's fair and equitable, not just what you're asking for. So I might blow up the whole charter system. You're asking for charters. The charters might not exist. So I think
it's a mind fuck, dude. And it shouldn't be, because you would feel like we should all be kind of on a level playing ground with things, and we all would want to kind of be on the same page, but we are clearly not. And this is what has shown that. So I'm all we can do is hope for the best. We're going to cover it either way it goes. But other than that, like, what are you excited about Phoenix? I got to ask you before you hop off here. Who's your pick to win the championship this year, man?
Man, it's so weird because I went in to the playoffs like I had Hamlin and Briscoe, but I also had Blaney and Logano, because I just thought Penske on the flat tracks, was going to be enough to get them in the Final Four. I thought one would win Talladega, which, hey, they were lined up for a second there.
Yep.
And I thought I
had Larson, dude. I had Larson and Briscoe in Talladega, so I was happy either way it goes. But
Dude, Larson is another missed opportunity potentially, right? Because
6'7", dude. Did it to him. Right.
If Blaney wins and Bell outruns Larson, which is possible, Larson's out. You know, and Blaney's won the last 2 years of the playoff race. So that, it's like, it's easy to be like, it doesn't look like it's going to happen for Penske this year. But all it takes is either of those drivers to get in, and suddenly they go from they're out of the playoffs to championship favorite because they're that good at Phoenix. That said, if I had to pick now based on the 4 now, I'd probably pick Denny. No, I'd probably pick Bell. If Bell's going to make it, I think he's the favorite of the JGR cars.
Because of Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
but
that.
If there's a Penske car, they're the favorite. I'm not going to put a Hendrick car as the favorite because I think they'll be down in the order compared to, but
I don't know,
man. It's a weird dynamic to try to pick a championship favorite when you don't. It's like this system, somebody can just come out of nowhere,
And you also have the new tire too coming up this weekend that they're going to be looking at. And I was talking to Ryan Preece, and on the last show that we had, he was talking a lot about how this is really favoring more of the the late model guys and the dirt guys. So when you want to factor that into it, if Goodyear is leaning in that direction, that changes a lot for this weekend, because for one, that's going to make me feel like someone like a Ryan Preece could have a pretty high finish if he's managing his tires the right way. But it points to Blaney for me, man. I mean, he's the guy I feel like that has shown what he can do at Martinsville. I feel like he would figure it out. But it's got me worried a little bit about Larson and Bell this weekend on how they're going to manage things. And so there's just, I don't know. It's been a very weird playoffs for a year where everyone doesn't want them. There's almost been this weird excitement around it. I don't know. How do you, what do you, I've never asked you personally, like, what do you feel? Like, do you feel like this should be playoffs like this, or this is good, or do you think that we should go back to old school shit?
I've come around to Team 36. I, at the beginning of this process, would have said, hey, you give me the 10 race chase back. That could be all I'd ever ask for. But even that, I just think 36 is worth trying with this car, specifically with this car, because you cannot build your way into a championship. And it's going to be naturally close. I mean, I get all the arguments of you can't use the points like this because some people would have done different things. And so you can't use the full season points as they are now, but they're close. I mean, it's not going to be that different. And right now you've got 6 drivers within 50 points for the full season points.
Yep.
And he missed a race and he's 50 out. So he would have been up there. See, I mean, Larson up by 1 point over Byron, Bell 6 points back. Briscoe and Blaney are 41 back. Denny's 50 back. Elliott's 77 back. I mean, this car, it's so hard to find consistency. The track types vary. You see guys get on hot streaks and cold streaks. I would like to see how it would play out. And look, if it doesn't work, I think you could always go back to playoffs. Then you could go back to the chase or something, right?
There you go.
You could be like 5 years from now, if people are like, but look at the viewership numbers. What do you have to lose? I mean, the viewership has been terrible, and they keep shedding like 300,000 people a week from even last year.
They had the uptick for network TV this week, but I guess for me being on the IndyCar side for so long, I'm like, what's the problem? You know what I mean? Because we're happy to see 1 million, dude. So, but I'm with you though. I think that we should return to the full season points. The Winston Cup era of the way that they did it. It was just a winning formula, man. And the more that I am understanding, like, we want innovation, we want tech and things like that, there's just some things that don't need to be really changed all the time. And you can try, and we did try. But I think that at this point, it's like Jimmy Spencer said on DBC this week, the fans are always right. Just go in that direction. and try it out.
Well, I do think that from a media standpoint, you just asked me my prediction for the championship, right? And it's so hard it's really hard. I think NASCAR was at its best when you really had storylines from week to week. And I was never around covering it for the Winston Cup era. My first year was 04, so it was the first chase.
Right.
So
damn, see,
that's all I really know covering it. But I still feel like there was such a consistency of storylines back then because it was all points to get in to the championship. And then you obviously had 10 weeks of points. And it was like, okay, this person's doing really well right now. And then so you would talk about them like, oh, like let's go to this guy's hometown and talk to his friends. And because this is somebody we need to learn more about. Oh, let's talk to this crew chief. How has he gotten this driver so good? Right now, like, every week I have a call with my editor, right? And well, what are some upcoming stories, right? And like this week, if I was gonna be like, oh, you know what, we should really do a story on Blaney and Penske because they're gonna be at Phoenix and we need to have something ready. But you don't know. That'd be a total waste of time.
Yeah.
You can't invest your resources in that. And then if they get there, you're like, oh shit, well, too late. We can't really go and talk to a bunch of people that we need to pull a story together in like 2 days,
Yeah. The grind is real. People don't understand the media grind, dude. I don't think. The more people I talk to on the outside, I'm like, dude, this is a 24/7, 365 gig. You're constantly just plugged in, like waiting to see what's gonna happen. And that's what we sign up for. The stories write themselves, and that's where I think that if with that full season points, the stories will write themselves, and we can get back to letting us tell the story in a way with the story we're given.
Now, is there a danger though that people get, let's say it's a runaway with Byron and Bell for like the last 20 weeks of the season, and people are just like, I don't care about either of these guys, and I'm not going to tune in to see these guys. So I don't know that it's going to be an immediate fix, right? Like, yeah. But let's say you build those guys up, like, see, it's all year they're talking about these guys. And the next year it's like, okay, it's Denny's last year, and now Larson's in it, and you have somebody else, Blaney's in it, or Briscoe's gotten better. And then you add I think it's a long-term play to build these guys up. And we talk about star power all the time. It's just such a lack of it right now, but it's hard to, again, from a media standpoint, I'm supposed to be here to tell these guys stories. I don't know whose story I'm supposed to tell. Yeah. Who am I supposed to be talking about? Because they could be having a great playoffs and they're out, or then they're in, and I don't know. You know,
cameras around them like almost 24/7 to capture their life and their day-to-day, their hobbies, really getting that understanding. I feel like that's what we had a lot of with like Gordon and Earnhardt. Like everyone knew Earnhardt, and he did a lot of off-track like videos, commercials, things like that, where you could really get an inside look at him and who he was. And I think that that's the thing, is there's just this lack of connection now with people and the internet, and how you have to kind of be careful with what you do, careful what you say. And so if that culture starts to kind of fizzle away a little bit more, that personality, that natural personality should be able to realistically come out, because these guys have personality. We were around and we talked to them. It's just about what are they allowed to show, and how many people outside of their world can find them relatable.
Well, I think that's another thing too, is like, we also need to see these guys, these personalities against each other. And just like I don't know who to cover in terms of who's winning the championship stuff, they don't know who they're racing. So like, it's like right now, it's like, okay, yeah, they might get to Phoenix and they'll know who they're racing, but they don't really even know right now. Like Larson is saying this week, I think I'm against Bell, and Bell's probably the most important car on the track, but I don't really know if he's like the end all be all. What if we had, ultimately these top 8 guys who made it, maybe with the exception of Logano, 7 of the top 8 were going to be the top 7 in points anyway, right? So imagine if those were the guys all year. Now, instead we talk all year about like, well, who's going to get that last spot? And then we go in the first round of the playoffs and it's like, can Bowman hang on? And is Bubba going to advance and stuff like that. We're not talking about these guys. And if they knew all year long, they're going head to head. Oh crap. Like Larson and Hamlin, we rejuvenate that rivalry, right? Because they're going for the points lead, and this is the playoffs right now.
And they have a natural ability to already kind of shit talk each other. So
yeah. And those would be the guys up front every week. Right now, somebody wins, Larson wins early in the season. And then you're like, well, he's in. And then he wrecks 3 straight weeks or something. And you're like, well, he doesn't care. It's like, whatever. I'm in the playoffs anyway. I'll get it back. This affects regular season points, but if it was like, if that happened and that was for the championship, it'd be like, oh crap, like, dude, this is terrible. Like it'd be big time drama, like, oh crap, he's opened the door for somebody else to pass him in points. Like, I would like to see how that could play out. So
yeah, we'll see. I hope we get it. Well, dude, Jeff, this has been great having you on. Great talking with you, man, and just always good just to shoot the shit with you, dude. We don't get to do that quite often as much as we used to in the past. So looking forward to more of that, and keep us posted. Well, I'm sure we'll be locked in on Twitter for the next couple of weeks trying to see what's going on. But thanks again, and have a great, awesome day chilling in the chilly mountains of Rado, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll talk to you later.
Hope
brother. Everybody has a great day. See ya.
All right. That was Jeff Gluck, the man himself. What a good convo. Always good to talk with him. Catching up here in the chat a little bit. Lot of conversation was happening over here in the chat. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation that we just had with Jeff Gluck talking about I feel like I'm a little bit more informed with where things are at, and we can kind of understand it at a level to where it just seems like one team's a little bit grumpier than the other in the lawsuit, and where some things that all make sense to a lot of people maybe don't make sense to one side. That's the way I'm perceiving it. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. But I think that we can all come to the conclusion where things would be better if just make it fair. Let us keep racing. Let's keep progressing. Let's maybe try on a new way of running the points going into next year. And it was great to hear that Jeff is Team 36 as well. So a lot of us out there, I think, are starting to lean a little bit more in the direction of the Winston Cup points. And that's just what we want. But anyway, great topic, great talks. If you are just now joining us, it is 1:02 p.m. on Wednesday, October 22nd. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Subscribe. If you subscribe, there's usually like a little Dale that pops up here, and he'll say, "What's up?" And he'll say, "Great job" to you. So you will see Dale pop up if you subscribe and you're not subscribed. What we can do now, we're going to scroll through a little bit of the news, some of these other topics. There was a couple of other things I wanted to get to. Let's go over to the browser view. We haven't done browser view in a minute, guys. You ready to go to browser view? Let's go. Yeah, browser view. All right. So I've been bookmarking a lot of stuff through the week. Obviously, some IndyCar news, too, that popped off that we can discuss. They removed the bump in Turn 2, which was pretty cool to see. David Lamb put a video out the other day that I watched where he kind of went through some of the changes. Doug Bowles was out there talking with the media about what to expect going into 2026. The IMS, they're testing on the ovals right now. They're trying out a couple of other things as well. I think that it's really interesting to look into. I know a lot of the topics today has been on NASCAR focus, so check that out. And we should have Speed Street coming back up as well. Did you see Doug Bowles said new IndyCar coming Q1 of next year? Yeah, I did see where he reported on that, that they'll have something that's kind of physical that the fans can kind of look at and touch and see. So we should be able to actually see what this car looks like. Been a lot of talks, though. I had to pop the Zen out. Been a lot of talks lately, though, about with J.R. Hildebrand been talking about the Blackbird, the new car. He's somebody that I would love to chat with as well about innovation and how we can make the future of racing a little bit better. But I did see where Doug talked about, and I had an Eric Smith tweet right here that was kind of going a little bit deeper into that. So we can dig into that. You should definitely check it out. Also, Joey Logano's sister, she can race go-karts. Look at her go. I had no clue Joey Logano had a sister until today. She races go-karts. And he likes Hank Williams. There's nothing more gross to me than Joey Logano enjoying Hank Williams. I feel like that should be the last music that he listens to. I don't know. We are very excited to see the new IndyCar, though. But getting away from that, let's talk a little bit more about some NASCAR news. We had some recent stuff come out with the San Diego race, and I saw this, and this caught my attention. Defense industry contractor Enduro Industries is adding its presence in NASCAR by sponsoring Hendrick Motorsports with 2 primary paint schemes on the 24. We all know this, okay? I'm going to say this, and I'll definitely get to that, Owen, for sure. But I want to say this real quick. When I saw this story about Enduro going to be sponsoring a NASCAR, if you follow me online, you know I'm big into the tech stuff. You've seen where Palmer Luckey is the name of the guy, and dude's fascinating creature. Like, started building VR when he was 14 years old. He was just on Joe Rogan. They talked about car culture. He's a big car nut too. And Enduro is the company that he owns. And so these are, just to show you guys, I'm going to put it back on browser view to show you guys some of this stuff. So these are the guys that own Enduro. This dude looks like he's straight out of a fucking video game. This Palmer Luckey right here. That dude lives his life like he's out of a video game. These are the people that will be sponsoring William Byron. So this is William Byron's crew. William Byron, officially a tech nerd. All right, and I will say that they also build some insane technology. So this is just some of the stuff that Enduro does. Basically, let's take Call of Duty, all the video games, and make it real life. That's what they do. So these guys will be sponsoring Hendrick Motorsports in 2024 at San Diego. So basically, just Call of Duty game nerds that are billionaires now, hanging out with our good pal William Byron. William Byron Tech Nerd. That's the scoop. Yeah, GTA 6 vibes, GTA 5 vibes. That's the story. We always love good partners coming through. But I'm excited mostly because, like, I do like the AI shit. I do like a lot of the new tech stuff. Maybe we don't need as much of it at superspeedway tracks, so that fuel saving won't be the optimal way to win. But I think that there can be some really fun ways that we can continue to see the tech industry get into racing. And I've said that a lot about IndyCar. I think IndyCar, they have the OpenAI partnership with Chip Ganassi Racing. So, you know, somebody's going to have to gobble up those tech guys. NASCAR doing a fantastic job right here. Hendrick mainly getting Enduro on board. So that was a really cool little nugget. World Final stuff coming up. Statistics. Other than that, Carson Ware's got a streamer that's going to be basically getting on his car this week. I thought this was cool. Rex. I don't know much about Rex, but he's somebody that is sponsoring the Ware Boys. So, yeah, first streamer sponsoring a car in the Cup Series. It might end up backwards at some point. I don't think anyone would be surprised. Owen in the chat would love to know your thoughts on F1 going behind a paywall in the U.S. being picked up by Apple TV. So any questions you have, like I said, you guys know to call in. You know the number, 980-317-8717. We'll get to the Martinsville preview here shortly. But I do want to address that. So do I think that F1 is just going in the direction of what they think is right? Absolutely. Do I think that they're dumb? Not necessarily dumb, but this is good if you are a fan of American racing. So keep this in mind. This is good if you are a fan of American racing. If you like NASCAR and IndyCar, you want F1 to be exclusively on Apple TV, away from cable, away from local television. Get it as far away as possible. Go right on into that little bubble. Stream it on AWS US East 1 server, We all saw how that worked out this past week. That was shut down. Just do that. Have fun. Go the fuck away. This is good for American racing. And I will say it over and over and over again. When you put a racing series somewhere where it's accessible, mainly free to a lot of people to be able to just to kind of tune in and watch, you go to bars, you go walk in bars. What do bars show on the television? Do bars have Apple TV? Do sports bar? Do you go walk into a Hooters on the weekend and see Apple TV? No, you don't. You see Fox. You see maybe NBC. And you see ESPN. That's your networks right there. Get racing in America. IndyCar's got Fox. Fox bought in. Woo! Woo! Ride the wave. NASCAR, there's some on Fox. There's some on NBC. There's some on Prime. There's some on TNT. Maybe not the best case scenario. IndyCar, whoop! To the top. Because they are going to be the most accessible racing series. There are so many TVs. My grandma would leave her fucking TV on and sleep for 4 hours, and a race could have been on. She wouldn't have known. That counts as a view. That counts as a view. All the televisions in bars. When you go get your hair cut at a damn sports clip, it counts as a view. Motorsport Report, you're live. Motorsport Report, you're live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Chase? This is Owen from Virginia.
Owen, what is up? Welcome. Are you a first-time caller today, Owen? I know you're in the chat.
First-time caller, long-time listener.
Hell yeah, dude. What's on your mind, brother?
Well, I think that IndyCar is going to be in the best space for the next 5-10 years for viewership, just because of NASCAR can't find it on consistent channels. F1's going behind paywall. I mean, no one really watches MotoGP. That's
Couldn't
on
tell
Fox
you.
now too. So that's probably going up as well. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I put this out.
Oops, sorry.
No, you're good, man. You go ahead. You're the one. You called in, brother. You talk.
I feel like IndyCar is in the best space for growth potential of any current sport that I see out there, not just motorsport.
Okay. Are you a longtime IndyCar fan, or are you would you consider yourself someone that's IndyCar first?
I would say I was an F1 fan first.
Wow.
I've been watching F1 since 2009.
Holy shit, dude.
So
you're an OG. See, I respect you. You're an OG F1 guy. You're not a Netflix F1 guy.
And I recently got into NASCAR and IndyCar just because I went to a couple of NASCAR races, and then IndyCar had that TV show on CW that was not great, and then I started watching the races. And they at least tried. They tried, and I'll give them that. But I think of any of the big three motorsports, NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, IndyCar is the greatest growth potential.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's terrible to say. I wish that I could put my money where my mouth was, but Penske's a little bit of a private corporation.
Yeah, well, with Fox buying in now, I mean, I think that it's a very safe bet. So, if it was something you could buy, we need to go look on Polymarket and see if that's a thing. I don't know if you're familiar with Polymarket or not. It's kind of like the new tech stock market. We need to put that on there. Will IndyCar boom in the next 5 years? Big Polymarket guy. Been watching a lot of TBPN lately. It's the new tech show that streams on Twitter and stuff. But I got to ask you, dude, and I'm glad you called in because I've never really gotten to talk to a F1 first guy. What was it about Formula One that attracted you, back in 2009?
Well, so I was I'm not too old. I'm 24 right now. So I was younger then. I was in third grade, but
you were a kid. Early. But what was it that got you into racing? What was it about that specific racing that attached you?
It was on early, So like I'd wake up, and I'm the youngest of four. So it's the only time in which I had control of the TV was early in the morning.
Yeah.
And so it was just the only sport that it was the only that I liked myself and that I could control. And then grew to like Lewis Hamilton, and he became really damn good that year. And from then on, it was just entertaining in a way that I didn't think most other sports could get. And NASCAR looked boring off the face of it, just going around in circles. And IndyCar, I didn't really know anything about other than the Indy 500.
I think the speed, a lot of it too, like when you're a kid, like there's something, like you're already like energetic as fuck as a child. So it's like, I know I was an ADHD kid, bro.
Yeah.
I still have ADHD. Yeah. So I've always been attracted to speed. I'm just like, blah, 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 anything that can like just suck me in like that, I'm in. And I think that that's why a lot of people with like ADHD and stuff like that love racing. So it's just cool.
It's also those 18,000 RPM V8s that they had back then that would just scream.
Oh, that. Yeah, I want to see them go back to V10s in IndyCar. That would be sick.
Yeah, IndyCar at least should go back to V8s.
Yeah, I agree. And I know they're trying the hybrid stuff out right now, and that's kind of the way they wanted it. But I do find it nice to know that like it doesn't matter like what kind of racing series it is. Like it just seems like it was interesting to you. You found a driver, you latched onto that driver, and that carried you as a fan. And the same thing with me in NASCAR, and I feel like the same for a lot of people out there. IndyCar definitely has to work on their star power, and they're trying to do that with Fox right now, I would say. And I think that that's their biggest thing is really just developing the driver storylines and beefing up the presence and personality. They're doing everything they can, but they've been in this weird – I don't know. You said you've been to some IndyCar races, right?
I've been to some NASCAR races. I have not been to an IndyCar. I've been to NASCAR and F1.
All right, so if you've been to NASCAR races, you already know that's exciting in itself. When you go to an IndyCar race, dude, especially if you go to an IndyCar race on ovals, it is the most – me as a NASCAR first guy that came into this world through NASCAR, I was born in Louisiana. There wasn't a lot of racing and stuff going on down where I was at. We had a very small little circle of guys that would go to Talladega, and so that was what I grew up knowing. When I first got to go witness the Indy 500 in 2021 – it was that same kind of feeling that Talladega gave me. It was because of that style of racing. It's just on the edge of your seat. Anything could go wrong at any minute, and you're having to handle that. When you experience that for the first time, it warped me because I was like, this feels like what NASCAR was when I was a kid. That's what IndyCar felt like to me. And it felt that way as an adult. And I think that the more people that get to go to IndyCar races that were fans of NASCAR in the late 90s and early 2000s, especially at those big superspeedway tracks, they're going to see that exact same kind of product with what IndyCar is today. So I would definitely agree with you that we're positioned well. The network is going to really be the main driver here. Like I was saying with the theory about the televisions always being on, the grandmas sleeping, the bars, the all the stores and businesses that have televisions on, so it can really get the numbers up too.
I would also love to see NASCAR do something a little bit like F1 has with F1 TV, where you can have all the driver cameras, you can see all the data and stuff, and pick what views you want to have with what commentary in the background.
And that's on a standalone website, because I know they do. NASCAR does a really good job of like putting stuff on like YouTube. Like they have some shows. They're really cookie cutter.
You can do like the driver cam on, but then that's always like 30 seconds delayed from the normal view. It just like it never is cohesive, I felt like.
Yeah.
And if it was all on one website, it could be like a cohesive thing, because like they have HBO Max, which is where you get all the drivers now, and then you got your normal TNT stream or Prime or whatever, and so like if you pull up both, you're sitting there with your TV remote, like pausing it for 30 seconds, being like, is that at the right time so that I can line up the driver cam in the race?
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. And that's a lot of new fans, they like to watch like that. Like, dude, ever since I started this show live streaming, I use my computer monitors for almost everything. Tiger Squad says IndyCar Live is kind of jank, but I mean they're working on it. I agree with you though, the F1 TV thing, and I think the problem is kind of like what we had Jeff coming on. It's just like where NASCAR's mindset is versus where the fans and the people and the teams are. There's a very weird line there, and that's all controlled down a pipeline. So I feel like NASCAR just produces way too much cookie cutter shit. They're doing everything for the money. They're not doing it for the passion of the product, and that's what you get out of it. Whereas F1 has more freedom.
I think every single loyal NASCAR, not every single, but most loyal NASCAR fans would pay the $10 a month to get to see every single race in one place and to have like the weird extra content that they want. The Corey LaJoy podcast. I think that's
And they have a thing on Tubi. I don't know if you've heard about that. Like, who the fuck uses Tubi, right? Like, but they have this app called Tubi. And apparently there's a NASCAR channel and it streams a lot of the NASCAR shows, podcasts, stuff like that. But who the fuck's downloading Tubi, dude? Just put it on you know what I mean? Get your own app. That's what needs to happen. Get your own application for a television. Get somebody on board. It doesn't have to be that hard. There's so many ways to do it now, especially with AI. You can fucking code something in 10 minutes, dude. It's
I love to watch Shane Van Gisbergen when he's on ovals on his player, but like it's just there's no cohesive way to do it, and I feel like it would probably cost them $5 million to put in all of the infrastructure, all the servers and stuff, because they already produce basically their own broadcasts a lot of the time.
Yeah. No, I mean you're absolutely right, man, and there's so many head scratching things within the racing world right now that could help them to be a better product like NFL and more well-rounded, but it does take the time, it does take the culture, and it just takes understanding. So that's why I'm just really firmly at this point, and you may agree or not, but I just think that everybody, whether you're a team, a driver, on the business side, everyone's got to get on the same fucking page. That's what F1 did right. Yeah.
Well, they have their Concord agreement, which every team and the league agrees to, and that like sets out their payout and their standings, pay positions, and like if a new team joins, how much money they have to pay for the dilution fund, and like they do all this. I think it's every 3 or so years that like they've been doing it since the 80s, and it's worked for them, and it's made them arguably the most powerful sport in the world besides soccer.
Yep, that's really the way it's looked at too now. It's like when I think about F1, I think about soccer. You know, when I think about NFL, I think about soccer. Like that's the mainstream. It's like, what are people seeing the most of? And I think that people can get blinded by that sometimes. And I feel like what we need to focus on right now, mainly in America, is focusing on American motorsport and making it not so much trying to reach the globe, but focusing on what we can control here in America and then just Americanize that. And then that's when you see what happened in the 90s with NASCAR. There was a lot of events that led up to that. But these things can be figured out. I think that there just gets too many people are in the way. There's too much in the way, and you got to simplify shit and realize that it is that simple, and then you can pull the trigger and do it.
On Door Bumper Clear, I can't remember who said it, but one of the guys on there was saying that NASCAR fans also just need to not be petty, that when, the Fruit Loops car wrecks out your guy, you can't go and say, I'm going to boycott and never buy Fruit Loops again, because that's bad for the sport. Like we need these big sponsors in there to keep putting money in, and they're not going to keep putting money in if fans keep saying they're going to boycott their product.
People are talking about the product, though.
That is true.
Yeah, I'm one of those kind of people. I'm like, dude, if it's out there in the ethos, dude, like it's in the ether, people are gonna pick that up subconsciously. That gets put in the back of their mind, dude. When they go to the store, like, dude, when I look at a box of cornflakes, dude, I still think about Terry Labonte to this day. He's up there on the wall, dude.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if he did something bad or not. I think about Dale Sr. wrecked the shit out of him, at Bristol. It didn't make me not want to go get cornflakes the next day. I mean, I didn't really like cornflakes that much. My grandma did, but I see your point and what you're saying, and I don't think that you should tell fans to shut up and stop seeing it the way that they do. I think that the as much diversity as there is in opinion out there is great. And the more diverse a perception is, because then you're just trying to make everybody do it the way that you see it all the time. And that's not what makes us human at the end of the day. What makes us human is our ability to see things from different perspectives. Yeah. And so I don't really agree with that much, but also too, like, practice what you preach, because look at NASCAR basically trying to authoritize and and then when you have fans, they're going to do that same thing. You can't really tell them not to do that.
Yeah. Well, this same guy I think they're guest, but he was saying that, one of their drivers, they'd throw a helmet on the track, and now if someone did that today, it'd be a $50,000 fine. But back in Bill France days, he would bring him back in his trailer and say how much your helmet cost.
Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, Jimmy Spencer said basically that
Yeah.
I love that motherfucker, dude. He's
so funny.
He is, man. Like, I think he's there's been people that tell me that just like, you have that energy. Like, and maybe subconsciously I picked up on watching him on Speed Channel over the years, and that's a part of like my being or something. I don't know, but I'll say that like his energy about it and the way that he can play, he's in a playful way and have fun with it. Like, that's what it's all about, dude. That's the shit that got me excited when I was a kid. I want to see if somebody wrecks somebody, are they gonna go punch him in the face, dude? It was NASCAR. It was the hockey of racing, bro.
NASCAR wants storylines, but then they shut them down whenever they start to happen.
Yeah, like every racing series has a unique thing about it. It doesn't have to be this one box. And that's just the generation that we live in, I feel like. I feel like everybody tries to box you in on like who you are, and you're this one thing, and that's all you can be. Nah, dude, like NASCAR can be the hockey of racing, whereas IndyCar can be, the innovation side of racing, and F1 can be the media pinnacle of racing. Like, you need to have those different things, and that's what makes it all fun, because like whatever your interest is, that's where you're gonna kind of go to. But you don't have to necessarily box in everything. Like, racing doesn't have to be this one circle of like, this is how all racing is, and that's, we need to do what they're doing and we need to do what they're doing. No, you need to do what you do. You do what you feel is right. So that's really, I think, a lot of what Jimmy was saying is just getting back to that, like,
getting back to
NASCAR racing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Be NASCAR, just like IndyCar needs to be IndyCar, not F1. NASCAR doesn't need to be F1. Just because F1 is winning at something, when you lose sight of that, and I think that's what's happened, is that all these corporate people are losing sight of shit, and they're all trying to react now, and they're not pushing past. It's like, okay, F1 had their moment. Now you figure out something that makes you uniquely you, and you go do it. And don't worry about what they're doing. You do what you do, and people will come to that. People always find their thing. So yeah, it's a lot of alienating, and it shouldn't be this complex of a thing, but it sadly is turned into that. And I'm still every day of my life trying to put my finger on it. But I know this all started as you just kind of calling in saying IndyCar was on the up, but it's been great to just chat with you, Owen. It's been good.
I appreciate it. All right. Well, you have a good one.
You too, man. Take care.
I appreciate the show and hope you're doing great behind the scenes.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. That was Owen calling in. It's a great conversation. I just like to talk, dude. I like to talk with people. I like to just shoot the shit and say what's on my mind. This is a show probably unlike any other show. That's why I don't even know if I can make this a podcast. I just like it being live and just talking with people. Catching up in the chat here a little bit. NASCAR Classics is a beautiful resource. Fox 1 could do it better if Eric Shanks wants to invest it. Yeah, and I think they will. Fox 1 is really coming around. I haven't got to talk to a lot of people on the IndyCar side of things, of how things are going to evolve. But look, we're in a great place. Media's in a good place. If people start to kind of see these trends and how they're unfolding, I think things will be great. There's always going to be people that say your ideas are shit, or this is shit, that shit, whatever. Everybody can think anything is shit. You just got to kind of roll with what you know. And I think that all of this is really starting to play out in a way to where people are kind of starting to come together in agreement. Got another caller coming in. We might extend the show a little bit longer today to do the Martinsville preview. Motorsport Report, you're live.
Hey, what's up, Chase? It's Wyatt with Front Stretch.
Wyatt, dude, you always call in at the perfect time, getting us ready to go roll in. We're just talking about how I don't know if we're going to get to Martinsville. We may have to extend it out a little bit, but dude, always good to hear from you, man. What's on your mind today, bro?
Dude, it's good. I mean, a couple things. First of all, I want to circle back to what you and Jeff were talking about, which was awesome to hear him on the show here.
It was good to actually have a full interview where it didn't crash out on us too. That was nice.
Right. Oh man, John Roberts, man. I wish we could have got a full one with him, but yeah, I'm fully on the Team 36 wagon. I thought it was a good conversation that us in the media, we want to drag out stories and really build these guys up. But with the system we got now, it's so unpredictable that we don't know until really right now here we're going to Martinsville to see who's going to come up and pretty much win this championship with. I mean, I feel like it's between Hamlin and Briscoe, and those are very worthy guys to win it. I think anyone, unless one of the Penske's, like if Blaney goes 3 in a row, I think really anyone you could say, like even Larson or even a William Byron, if he finds a way somehow to advance his way in. He had a great first half of the season that he could compete for the title in a normal like full season format. So, but we don't get that opportunity to really build on that story because of all the changes in these 10 races and all the rounds and chaos that happens and the winning you're in as well. So
yeah, and
I just wanted to double on that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, a lot of people, like, I know that I follow it for fun, like the whole Winston Cup points thing, and you can theorize how it would be right now, but the reality is that's not how it is. You got to kind of look at the way that the playoff standings are as we have them. I've said it a million times. I love NASCAR. I'm going to follow what NASCAR has for us and what they have given us as of right now, and then next year if we roll into that new format, then I'm fucking super happy, very ecstatic, but it's not going to like stop me from watching, you know what I mean? And I think that with the Winston Cup points thing, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't know if you've had any conversations about it. Like people like talk about, oh look, this is what the points would be if it was like, dude, they're racing to optimize for this playoff format, so that's not an accurate depiction of what may happen, because if these teams flip over and they can actually their focus is that 36 points format, that's what will be the reality. So I don't know if you've seen a lot of that talk.
I've seen that on Twitter. I've seen it across other podcasts, and it's absolutely right. It's fun to theorize like how it is now and what the results are from what we've got, but the truth of the matter is, yeah, they would race completely differently, maybe more conservatively throughout the season versus what we saw like at Daytona before the cutoff, or especially at Talladega with Briscoe and Larson, the fuel mileage races.
Do you think that was gross?
Are they going to make the same calls or not?
Did you think that was gross? Like the half throttle shit? You thought that was gross?
Oh, I mean, I'm not a fan of the fuel saving at super speedways. I think that's more of a car. That's more of a stage racing problem that comes out to be, because I don't know, it's a product of stage racing. I think primarily because the strategy is so structured and optimalized, because these crew chiefs are smart motherfuckers. Like they find a way to optimize the races, and if it has to be from just running 50% throttle for 3/4 of the race, they'll do it in order to win.
That's what I feel like a lot of people don't understand, that like aren't looking at what NASCAR has become like as a complete picture. There's a lot of fans out there that just kind of like, you know, they watch for the action. They just watch to see if someone's going to fight. There's some people like where I grew up, they watch to see who's going to wreck. Like there's a whole lot there's different subgroups of people that watch this racing for what it is. And now we're at this point to where it's like, okay, we're finally understanding. And all I've ever tried to do with this shit is just figure out a way to communicate it as clearly as possible for everyone that like this is a product of what you get when everything is optimized for winning. It gets cold, it gets a little soulless, and there's not as much human instinct involved as there used to. Like now, like Chase Briscoe being up on that high side at Talladega and him dipping down, that's human instinct. That's why you get those moments right there at the end. You get those end moments where like that's where it's like computer shit's kind of off the board at that point. It's just all about, now imagine if we had that all race long, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be interesting. I think it was cool that Briscoe kind of showed what he would have thought, what he would have done if Larson didn't run out of field too. If his best interest would have been for Bubba Wallace to win that race, his fellow Toyota teammates. So, and then once that happened, that's reaction. Like you take it by the balls, for lack of a better term, and get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, what a finish! And what a call from you too, by the way. That was electric.
Thanks, dude.
Congrats, man.
I was locked the fuck in before Busher got spun. That was probably the one moment Busher. I went back and watched on my stream. I was just like, dude, I don't even remember reading the chat, dude. I was just so like just in flow, dude. ADHD on full display, dog. Like proving that I could focus, you know? Like,
yeah.
That's that was my Adderall, dude. Racing is my Adderall, dude. I'm not on medication, dude. Like
I got up out of my seat when I watched that finish. It was insane. Before we move into Martinsville too, one other thing I'm reading, at least on a front stretch, Daniel Suarez to Spire for 2026 in the number 7 car.
There it is. Breaking news. Wyatt just broke it on Motorsport Report. Wyatt from Front Stretch just officially broke the news on Motorsport Report. Tell us a little bit about this, Wyatt.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez will be racing for the number 7 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet in 2026. The team announced today. It's kind of known. I want to give credit to Jordan Bianchi for kind of hinting at this about a week or two ago, that this was probably going to be the move. He's now, with his 4th or 5th team? He was with Joe Gibbs.
I just remember him Trackhouse, dude. He was Trackhouse.
Yeah, this is his 4th NASCAR Cup Series team since he entered the sport with Joe Gibbs Racing. Then he was Stuart Haas. Now exiting Trackhouse to join the Hendrick-affiliated Spire Motorsports, who are looking for their 2nd win in the Cup Series. Remember, Justin Haley, who is vacating the 7 car, did get their win in 2019 in Daytona in the lightning-shortened race.
I remember
there,
that one.
So,
dude, I almost forgot Suarez ran the 19, bro.
Yeah, he was. I almost forget that too. But the only race I remember him was at Daytona when he was leading in the Subway car. But that's about it. He was very quiet.
Yeah, Triple the Hop says another example of a driver getting a seat that isn't deserved. What do we know about anything about Justin Haley, about what he's doing?
I think the overall I feel like he's going to be in one of those Colic trucks in 2026. It's kind of what we're thinking. It's not official, obviously. He is on the market, but I mean, Colic's going to have 5 of those Ram trucks, and I mean, one of them's going to go to Brendan Butterbean Queen. The other one of them might be Cletus McFarland if that ends up happening.
I heard that too.
Yeah, that was Michael Waltrip way back was teasing that one before we even knew officially had Dodge joining with Colleague.
Well, but I had somebody that was out at Talladega. I'll just kind of give you this nugget. Somebody that I had, one of my few sources that I have, he did end up telling me that what he's hearing is that Eckes is going to the Colleague trucks and that Cletus will be part-time. So that's what a source of mine. I haven't put that out publicly to anybody. So if you're watching this here on Motorsport Report, this is an exclusive of Motorsport Report only. I'm not putting that out there publicly. I've had my fun throwing wild shit out there, but this is what one of my sources say. He's a decently trusted guy. He hasn't lied to me yet. So that's what I'm hearing.
That makes sense. That makes sense because Eckes just seems like he gets the Truck Series more than the Cup Series. Obviously, Colleague is not on their A game in the Xfinity Series or will be the O'Reilly Series anymore. I think that's a good move for Eckes. For Haley, obviously he has his relationship entering or being a part of Colleague in the Cup Series and Xfinity Series for so long. I think it's natural for him to go down back to the Truck Series where he has had success. Remember, he won a couple races before, I think with GMS at the time. And I think that it's kind of like John Hunter Nemechek when he was with Front Row and reset with Joe Gibbs or with KBM and then Joe Gibbs Racing to come back and be on the 42 team. And look where he's at now. He's finishing top 10 and top 5 every now and then at legitimate tracks. So I think it's a good move for Haley, who needs, I feel like he does need a little bit of that reset and find the opportunity that gets him into victory lane somewhere.
I agree.
Similar to Daniel Hemrick too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like going down isn't always a step back. It's just kind of putting you back where you know you can dominate or you can have the best chance to dominate, so that you can just stick around the ecosystem and kind of like figure out your way into the seat. A higher seat or a better seat. There's just so many people that take that. I mean, Corey LaJoie's a great example, dude. I mean, just trying to claw his way. He wants to race on Sundays, and he made some sacrifices, to get up there and do that. And typically, those kind of sacrifices maybe don't always win to a winning formula. The closest he ever got was with Spire at Atlanta, to getting a win. So it's a fascinating business, man. It really is. How it all works on the IndyCar side, the NASCAR side, all of it. Like, I personally would love to see him have enough money to get back to where they can just recruit and put people in seats.
I will say if Haley does want to get that win, he needs Corey Haim to move up the ladder quickly, man, because he's, good Lord. Was it 10 now?
Yeah, I think so, dude. I have to go look into it. I've been trying to keep up. The big news, like obviously with Raja Caruth going to Junior Motorsports now. Very excited to hear that news. Big fan of Raja and have been since he started his journey out. Good buddy, and hopefully we'll have him on the show here in the next couple of weeks to talk a little bit. I hope he gets out there and gets it done, dude. I want to see him race for that championship in the Truck Series. So I've been plugged in a little bit more than normal to the Truck Series, and I think it's only fair that I do that if I'm going to have this show. I need to be a little more tapped into the Truck and Xfinity Series all around.
He's 40-1 to win this week in Martinsville, by the way.
Martinsville is
via DraftKings.
It's a fun track.
Raja is.
I'd have to go back and look at his statistics there, but I'm not going to count him out by any means. But the statistics, what you got?
Yeah, I'm about to say he's a sneaky pick. He's a sneaky underdog.
And 40-1, dude. Yeah, you can put a little bit on that and have fun. So that might be something I'll look at doing, and that'll be Friday night, right?
Yep, that's Friday night at 5 p.m. The green flag starts for the Truck Series. I like Caden Honeycutt at 20-1 because looked like he could have won that race last year or last time around the spring with Nice. Now he's with Friesen's number 52, and they're still in contention to even point their way into the championship for it, so which would be big for that 52 team. And I think Caden Honeycutt as well, who I think he has. That's another one we forgot. He has something up for next year with a different manufacturer. Could that be Colleague Racing for Caden? That I'm interested to see what that looks like for him. But in the meantime, he's shown speed in the 52. He just needs to get the result. And I think Martinsville is one of his best tracks, and that's someone I'm looking at in the Truck Series. But man, there's the Cup Series guys. Oh my goodness!
So before we move into Cup though, because I'm definitely gonna talk about that. So I think it's all safe for us to say a little preview of Truck Series betting. We like Raja at 40-1. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say Caden Honeycutt is another one that you like.
Yeah.
And what's his odds?
Caden Honeycutt's odds 20-1.
20-1. Okay.
on via DraftKings.
All right, so 40-1 and 20-1. I'm down with that, dude. Who's the favorite?
Oh, it's Corey Haim all day, plus 120.
What about Lane Riggs? Where's old Lane?
Lane Riggs plus 260. Oh, and he needs a win too.
Dude. Yeah, he does. Huh?
Lane needs to win. I feel like Lane's going to do something crazy. And what's up?
That's our Love's truck stop boy.
Yeah, man. I think he's going to do something insane and like Harvick his way out of the playoffs, though.
Maybe.
It just feels like that's going to happen for Lane. Lane's such a good guy and a great racer in the Truck Series, but he is on the fence to make it in on points. Which you wouldn't think that, but yeah, he needs something to go his way here because of his difficulty in the round of 8.
Well, I'm gonna book Raja and Honeycutt. That's gonna be I'm gonna trust you because you've probably been doing a little bit more research on the truck side than I have. But speaking of Cup, I've got statistics for Cup pulled up. Obviously, Ryan Blaney being the big guy that I think a lot of us are circling here. We got a new tire at Martinsville. Let's slide in. We're gonna extend the show a little bit extra today because we didn't get to talk about this, but we still have Wyatt from Front Stretch on the line. Who are your favorites for this weekend? Like, who are some bets that you like before I kind of dive into my analysis?
If the books weren't going to respect Ryan Blaney for a third year, then I'd have him. But at 4-1, there's other guys that can win this race and have this race circled. And that one of those I feel like is Kyle Larson at 7-1. If he's going to show that he's a championship threat, I know he's got the points to make it in, but he's had strong runs in October here at Martinsville, and he's won one specifically in the spring in the next gen era. And at 7-1, he's third. He's the third favorite behind Denny Hamlin, the winner in the spring this year, and then Ryan Blaney, of course, 4-1, looking for the three-peat to race his way in the championship 4. I got to take the 7-1 just based off the value standpoint because Larson needs to make a statement here to put himself in the hat for Phoenix. Other than that, there's Bell at 7-1 as well at the same odds as Kyle Larson. I kind of like that as well, but I think I'd have to shift. Even though he's going to make the championship 4 already, Denny Hamlin 6-1, I like just a little bit more compared to Bell. But both Larson and Bell have the necessity to win or keep guys like Chase Elliott and Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney at bay. And those two I have more of an eye on to do well compared to the rest. I'm not really looking at anyone outside the playoffs, though, to upset unless you are, Chase.
There's one guy that comes to mind. His name is Ryan Preece.
Who that? Oh.
Ryan Preece likes what Goodyear's doing with these tires. We have a new left side tire that's going to be used out here that's supposed to give us some comparable racing to that of which we saw at New Hampshire, maybe. We saw what they started doing with Bristol. Now, if that's going to be the case, maybe I'm not looking so deep at the dirt guys here at Martinsville this weekend, or the guys that maybe are a little bit more have not been as focused on tire management as some others. So that's what's kind of got me thinking about raw driver ability. I like guys like Bubba. I like guys like Ryan Preece for that. That's really the two big ones that come to mind to me right now. Owen says SVG top 5 at 20-1 is wild. They do talk about this being a big road course oval though. Have you heard the because of the braking and how things work out here? I mean, you maybe not have to do so much of that with this next gen car, but still it comes into play. William Byron's also won here before in this car too, so.
Yeah, Byron's been good in the spring, but he's struggled in the fall, which is why I'm kind of avoiding Byron, especially the fact that this round of 8 has been a nightmare for that team. And I remember I think when he was running the Pods car, that was the hardest race of his life. He barely races himself in the points.
See, I think Byron shows up. I think Byron could get the pole.
Oh, yeah?
I think Byron could get the pole this weekend.
Ooh, that's a call. By the way, the SVG top 5 actually even more of a long shot. It's 45-1 via Caesars. So
45-1, Owen. You hear that, dude?
Good Lord, just take it on the chin there, buddy.
As if he doesn't get turned.
That's
man.
insane.
You know
But
what I mean, like he's been,
Byron,
dude, he's
man.
been popping off, bro. He's been popping off. I don't know. I'm gonna dig into it. I'm just looking at top 10 odds. Where is he at there?
I do like the Bubba Wallace, and I like the Ryan Preece
5-1 for a
call
top
out.
10 SVG.
Oh, it's up?
5-1 on DraftKings for SVG top 10.
5-1 on DraftKings. He's 6-1 on FanDuel. 6-1 on FanDuel.
6-1 on
I like
FanDuel?
that. I kind of like that.
I like that
Damn.
a lot, dude. I'm gonna do it. SVG 6-1 for a top 10 on FanDuel with Wyatt on the line. I think we've just locked in our first bet for Martinsville, guys.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
You know,
riding
another
that?
one I like. Austin Dillon's top 10 is 13-1.
Yeah, but do you think? I mean, when's the last time he got a top 10 here?
At Martinsville. Hold on, I gotta pull it up.
It's been a minute. I'm going to look at overall statistics right now. If I'm looking for Austin Dillon's way down yonder. There's his brother. Where is he? Because there was that one race where he was like challenging Joey Logano. What was that, like 2022 maybe? And it was like, whoa, he's back. Da-da-da. Look at him. He's definitely higher than his brother. Here we go. Austin Dillon.
Top 10 in this race last year.
He finished 7th.
Yeah. This is for his top 10.
And he finished 3rd in 2022 at the April race. That was when William Byron won. So,
yeah.
I don't know. There's not enough for me there because every other year it's fucking 23rd, 34th. I don't feel like they've been – well, I guess you could say, like, because of the Richmond deal, this could be another one.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes to, though.
This could be an optimized track that they just have nailed like no one else. And what is his odds? He's 4-1 for a top 10 on DraftKings. Where is he longer?
He's longer via, I think, FanDuel. He's 13-1.
You got top 10 on FanDuel? I don't have top 10 on FanDuel yet. All I have right now is top 3 and top 5 that I'm looking at on FanDuel. But on Caesars top 10, I feel like Caesars would probably sleep on someone like Austin Dillon the most. Plus 425 for a top 10. So not very far off from what DraftKings has. I don't know. Maybe if he was like 8-1. There's only one race there. Like, I like SVG's odds to get a top 10 at Martinsville more than I do Austin Dillon. That's kind of crazy to say, but
yeah, it looks like it's not on at the moment. I'm about to say I'm getting it via Action Network. That probably was on, but they turned it off for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really do Action Network that much anymore. I used to do Action Network a lot. I used to always put my stuff on there. I make people come here now. I'm like NASCAR. I make people go out of their way to get my bets these days.
Oh, for sure. No, I don't blame you there. I just use it as a resource to help me out. That's all.
Oh,
but yeah,
sure.
I like those plays that you mentioned, especially the Bubba Wallace and the Ryan Preece for the outright winner. I think there's a couple. We've talked about a couple top 10s, a couple top 5s, and I'm sure those lines will change all weekend long. It's gonna be an interesting race this week in Martinsville.
Yes,
I'm glad I could have been on to preview that with you.
Well, dude, I'm glad you keep calling in on every Wednesday, dude. We'll just start making our little betting segment right here on this live stream, dude. I'm down for it.
Shoot, I'm about to say shoot. I just like Jeff Gluck. I'll join via video too, and we can get it on the browser view.
Hey, dude, if you're
good old browser
it,
view, man.
You know I'm always down. I'm always down to clown, dude. I'm always down to have a good time, bro. Well, Wyatt, thanks so much for calling in, man. I appreciate it. It's always good to chop it up with you and talk some betting.
Yeah, good to talk to you too and catch up, man. Good luck with your bets this week. Hopefully get on a little win streak to end the year too.
Well, I had Briscoe at Dega, so we just got to keep that churning now. I had Elliott at Kansas. I fucking missed out on Hamlin at Las Vegas, but now I'm back. So I had Larson and Briscoe at Talladega, so I was in good hands, dude. I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
tell them all the time, the only man in motorsports with a crystal ball, dude. One of these days they'll believe me. But,
I believe it 100%. But yeah, good luck this week again. Thanks for having me on the show again.
yeah, brother, for sure. Good talking with you. That was Wyatt from Front Stretch. Check out his work, man. Great guy. He works on the IndyCar side, too, so we chop it up a lot when we're at some of those IndyCar races this past year. Let's get into a little bit more betting talk, though. So, obviously, we locked in SVG 6-1 for a top 10. I like that. And I'm going to get us over on the browser view so we can look at some odds together. Let's take a gander. Let's look at these odds. Let me zoom in. Let's get a nice zoom going on. Here we go. Here's some top 10 odds for Martinsville. Remember, Martinsville is one of those kind of races where it's like it's for the road dogs. Also, don't forget that at Martinsville, if your dad is a businessman, you have a way better shot of winning. And that is something that I've heard. Ryan Blaney's been winning at Martinsville now for a little bit. His dad was a race car driver, but also owned a business. So kind of a businessman. William Byron's dad owned a business. Alex Bowman's dad owned a business. There's a lot of these things that go on. I don't really know if Kyle Larson's dad owns a business. Just a kind of a fun nugget to throw out there. But let's go look at outrights. Blaney is at 4-1 to win. Larson's 5-1. Hamlin 5-1. It's hard not to go with Blaney this week for me, and I say that because Penske. What is there a world? Is there a world where Penske doesn't make the championship four? I don't think that world exists. And I think that what Penske's going to have to do this weekend, because their back's against a wall right now, I think that all the resources are going straight to Blaney this weekend. This is a crystal ball observations, okay? Crystal ball observations here on Motorsport Report. All the resources at Penske are going to be going to Blaney. It's Ryan Blaney's race to lose at this point. He's been very great. They've got all the data. They're optimized for this racetrack. The one thing that they don't have that is changing on the fly, though, is tire management. It's going to be very different. 52 Matley says locked Briscoe in at 18-1. That was crazy to me. You're talking about for Martinsville? Yeah, I mean, he's had races. I think the year that Christopher Bell won it, the year of the fucking, what was it? Ross Chastain just skirt dogging into the checker, dude. That was that one year where he was around. But I don't even see, Briscoe 16-1 on DraftKings. If you're talking about Briscoe for this week, he's 16-1 on DraftKings. FanDuel Briscoe is at 19-1. 19-1. Longer odds, 52 in the chat. Got longer odds on him over on FanDuel than that 18-1. And then if we go look at him on Caesars, Briscoe is going to be 16-1. Briscoe is also a team player, though. So remember that. You have to understand kind of the mentalities of these guys. Briscoe did the hard work. He's locked in. And if there's one driver that they are going to be pushing hard for at JGR this weekend, we all know it's Christopher Bell. Now, Christopher Bell's odds are set at 6.5-1 on DraftKings. Bell is also 6-1 on FanDuel, and he is 6.75-1 on Caesars. So plus 675 on Caesars. And I'm just going to say, if there's one driver at JGR that cares about himself and is locked the fuck in, it's Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin can manage tires. Denny Hamlin has clocks. Denny Hamlin could win. And I think that that is the only thing that is in the way right now of potentially Christopher Bell getting a win here is Denny Hamlin's going to fight him all the way to the checkered. We all know Denny has said it very clearly. He's very straightforward about it. Denny Hamlin this is DH's year. This is DH, dude. He's locked in. He's got a lot on the line. He's got a lot he's looking forward to. This is DH's time to shine. So if DH is up there and he's running well, I think that he's going to be up there. He's going to be up front. He's not going to lay off by any means at this racetrack. There's nothing he can do to really hurt himself. He's got all the pressure off his back. He's rolling into Phoenix next week. Watch out for Denny fucking Hamlin, dude. And as much as I want to take Ryan Blaney here, they're in a must-win situation. Him and Joey Logano both. I'm not betting on Joey Logano at 8.5 to 1. I think that Joey Logano will probably find a way to fuck it up, or somebody else will fuck it up, and he'll end up getting fucked up out of it. We all like to say anybody but Logano. If there's one guy at Penske I think that can do it, it's Ryan Blaney. He's the favorite, obviously. Nobody really wants to bet on the fucking favorite. Let's be honest. But Denny Hamlin at 5 to 1. If there was anybody that I'm betting on that's close to a favorite, 6 to 1 on FanDuel, Denny Hamlin is. I'm betting on Denny Hamlin at 6 to 1, dude. Denny Hamlin, 6 to 1. That's my favorite bet this week. I don't think that he's going to lay off. I don't think he's going to just kick back and relax. Dude, this is Denny, bro. He just got 60 career wins. That's what he cared about. Unless we are now entering this world, I'd recommend everybody after they get done with this live stream, if you haven't yet, go check out the Denny Hamlin Actions Detrimental podcast. See where his headspace is this week, or what he shows you. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that Denny's going to hold back. I think that Denny's going to get out there and he's going to race, because that's what drivers do. That's what racers do. They race. So I like Denny out of the favorites. Ryan Blaney is somebody that, damn, I took him on FD this morning. What the hell? You talking about Briscoe? Yeah, dude. I feel like of all the JGR cars, it's got to be Hamlin for me. Even though he's already plugged in to the playoffs, I think it's Hamlin. They're going to, Chris Bell, if he can get out there and get up front and do it, that's great. This tire strategy is going to be very different. I feel like some of these more experienced late model guys, we had Ryan Preece on this show a couple weeks ago. He talked about it. He said this is really falling back more into the wheelhouse of the late model guys. And if we're going off of that, I think long shot wise, Bubba Wallace is somebody good to look at. Ryan Preece is somebody good to look at. You can get those two guys on the long shot in right now. Preece, where is he? Holy fuck, dude. Preece is 80 to 1 to win at Martinsville. I'm definitely dabbling on that. He's 80 to 1. I don't know if he's going to be any longer anywhere else. Maybe he is, though. Maybe I'm crazy, but we love FanDuel. Y'all know we love FanDuel. Preece is 70 to 1 on DraftKings. 80 to 1 on FanDuel, and then he is going to be 65. Wow, 65 to 1. So yeah, FanDuel is going to have the best odds for Preece. Go lock that in at 80 to 1. That is potentially something big. He has got a pole here before it with SHR. Don't forget that he knows what the fuck to do on these tracks. Go look at his record in the Whelen Modified Tour. So I know it has nothing to do with NASCAR Cup racing, but pure driver ability, Preece has Martinsville pretty nailed down. Look into that. Bubba has also won at Martinsville, and I've been betting on Bubba for a while. I think that clock is going to be dinging in his trophy room at some point, one point or another. This is one of Bubba's good tracks from the past, too. So he's with Toyota. Things can be optimized. I don't know if he'll actually – he's not my favorite long shot. Preece is my favorite long shot this weekend. Bubba, not so much, just because I know where Toyota's headspace is and where Toyota's trying to do. They know that all the focus is on JGR right now. So with 2311, Denny involved, I still think that could be something to look out for, but he's 33 to 1 on FanDuel. You can get him you can get Bubba Wallace at 28 to 1 on DraftKings. I think a lot of these odds are probably just name carrying as well. And then Bubba is going to be 25 to 1 there also. So again, FanDuel doing the Lord's work. If you think Blaney wins, the play to just bet him win the title was 10 to 1 this morning. Yeah. I think that's probably where I'm at with it too. Like, you want to get the best odds on Blaney this weekend, bet on him to win the championship. At 10 to 1. Because we all know the real lethal threat of Penske getting in. They're going to be optimized for Phoenix. They're going to do great. Not trying to take that away from anyone else, but, Goodyear's putting in the work. These tires are a little bit different. How do you like Busch at 80 to 1? I don't mind it. Kyle Busch is 80 to 1 on FanDuel. Let me go look at his odds other places. Again, just because we were looking at the Austin Dillon deal, with Dillon finishing 7th here, I think it's something. He's 80 to 1 pretty much fucking everywhere. Holy shit. 80 to 1 on Caesars, and then Busch is holy fuck. Did you ever think that in a world we would see Kyle Busch at 80 to 1 at any racetrack? He's 55 to 1 on DraftKings. So keep that in mind. 55 to 1 on DraftKings for Kyle Busch right now, as opposed to getting him at 80 to 1. It's definitely worth the sprinkle. And I say that mainly because if we're looking at the whole conversation from this new tire might make things fall more into the tire management side, the late model guys, Kyle Busch, with RCR, I think, I don't know, it's play enough to where it's not wasting your money. I'll put it that way, because I'm not as pro RCR as Wyatt is with like Austin Dillon just based off the one top 7 or the top 10. I'm not going to buy into that. I'm going to go for a little bit more proven results and just kind of like off of my gut. Nothing's screaming Kyle Busch to me. Nothing's screaming Austin Dillon to me. But what is screaming to me is Denny Hamlin at 5 to 1. That's screaming to me. Now, it's really tough, man. Another one that I think people are probably going to sleep on. A lot of people seem to want to go ahead and just like say Chase Elliott is just out of this thing. He got wrecked out at Talladega, whatever. He shaved his mustache. So because he shaved his mustache, I can't support it. I can't support it anymore. I feel like he fucked up the juju, man. Like, it's just like, how many times is it going to take for you? If Chase Elliott would have still had a mustache, dude, he would have probably won Talladega. Let's be honest. But it didn't happen. I just feel like with Chase, man, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. He's been decent here. Let's look at the stats, though. Stats don't lie, right? Let's go look. What has Chase Elliott done here over the last couple of years? At Martinsville, in Martinsville, Virginia, one of the best places. Who's eating a hot dog? Anybody in the chat going to Martinsville this weekend? Anybody going to be there? I might make a drive just for a hot dog, dude. I don't know. I'll be streaming the race this Sunday, by the way. So, okay, so finished 4th here in March. He finished 2nd in November. Finished 3rd in April. He's got Larson that he's got to be dealing with too here. This is probably going to be the tightest race of the year. My early predictions, obviously, I can throw my dark horses out there. Ryan Preece at 80 to 1. I like that. That's a definite dark horse play for me. For somebody to come in and shake it up, unlike anybody else. I kind of want to see what his top 10s are too, just to play it safe. But I really like Denny. I really like Denny this weekend because I feel like if Denny wants a championship, man, if it's really a Denny Hamlin championship year, he's going to win here, and then he's going to go into Phoenix and win again, back-to-back. That's the way I'm seeing this play out. If Denny's going to win the championship, that's the way it goes. He wins Martinsville, he wins Phoenix. End of story. It makes the most sense in my mind. It really does. So that's why I like him kind of as my favorite this weekend. Maybe I can catch Blaney on a bad pit cycle or something. We can bet it live. We'll be betting live on Sunday too. So live betting has really become a big part of my strategy as well. Trying to learn how to manage this money a little bit more with my gambling has been fun. It's been a fun thing to do because we used to just throw darts at the wall. I still love to throw darts at the wall, but I try to do it a little more sensible now and really just lean into my gut instincts and not get too statistical with it. My gut instinct is telling me Denny Hamlin's going to win this weekend. And that's where my gut's at. My statistical analytics side of me tells me Ryan Blaney's going to win, but that's what every other book thinks too. So that tells me I'm right in line with statistical analytical thinking. But gut play, dude, it's Hamlin. I like Hamlin to win this weekend. I can't deter from that, and I'm not going to deter from that. Hamlin 6 to 1, SVG 6 to 1 for a top 10. Lock it the fuck in. Let's ride it. Let's just see what happens. Ryan Preece dark horse to win at 80 to 1. I don't mind taking the stab there. Not really feeling the RCR plays. He didn't shave it. He took a Napa Auto Parts razor to the mustache. Got to brand it like he would. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't pick up on that at first, Owen, but I get you now. I get what you're saying. Smoke darts, don't throw them. Amen, Tiger. That's what I'm saying. I've had a great show today. So I think before we go, we can definitely say SVG 6-1 for a top 10. We like that. I like Denny Hamlin at 6-1 to win. I like a dark horse Ryan Preece at 80-1 to win. And we were going to go look at Preece's top 10 odds before we left. So I have to make sure we do that. I don't have top 10 odds on FanDuel yet. But if I'm going to look at the top 10 odds for Preece, they probably, if what I'm thinking is true, they probably won't be as good. Dude, he's 3-1. He's 3-1 for a top 10. I think that's good backup. Preece at 3-1 for a top 10. I think he can easily get a top 10 here. He's been preaching about these tires and what Goodyear's doing. He's tuned in. He's locked the fuck in. Stock car guys. Maybe not so much focus on the dirt car guys this weekend. Focus a little bit more on the stock car background guys. The guys that have the stock car backgrounds. The guys that come up late model racing. Not in the dirt. Let's focus on that. And let's see where that gets us this weekend. Because I think that we are moving in that kind of trend with Goodyear now. So focus on stock car guys. Look at their backgrounds. Look at what they raced in. Look at some of the tracks that they were most dominant at across the NASCAR universe. Like a track like Martinsville. Just go see how many wins they had in other series at Martinsville. Preece is that's my logic behind why I like Preece. So in Austin Dillon, he's done some short track shit too. So short track shit's not really out of the loop for Dillon. I just don't like him at 4-1 when I can get someone like a Van Gisbergen who's really been on it and really getting it, really learning it. It's fun to bet on that because I do want to believe that we'll see that happen for him. Top 10 side of things for Preece over on Caesars, they have him at plus 210. So DraftKings is where you're going to get the best on Ryan Preece right now. So I don't mind the backup for Ryan Preece at 3-1 for a top 10. I think that's kind of money in the bucket, unless he gets wrecked, which I don't really think he will. I think he's going to be able to manage pretty good out there. So Ryan Preece 3-1 is kind of a drop in the bucket for me. And then trying to just investigate a little bit more on some of these odds for top 10. The Van Gisbergen one, all in on that. 5-1 on Caesars or DraftKings. So I didn't see him at 6-1. I'm going to take SVG at 5-1 though for a top 10. I like that. So that's my lock plays, guys. SVG top 10, 5-1. Ryan Preece 3-1 for a top 10. I like those two bets. I like Ryan Preece as a dark horse small unit sprinkle at 80-1 on FanDuel. And then my favorite prediction to win this race weekend is Denny Hamlin, with Ryan Blaney finishing close behind. What are Ryan Blaney's? I'm sure his top 5 odds are going to be garbage. Like it's kind of like 52 said in the chat. If you really think Blaney is going to win this weekend, he'll probably be very well positioned to win in Phoenix too. Just take the 10-1. I think that's probably the easiest way to play this out because, yeah, he's minus 175 for a top 5. That's too. You're eating brine. You know what I mean? There's no juice left. There's no juice left to squeeze. One top 5 bet, though, that I don't mind. I got to give us a top. I never bet top 5. I never get to do the top 5s anymore. But that's because I've always lost on my top 5 bets. I'm dog shit at top 5 bets. William Byron plus 115 for a top 5. Fuck it. Let's do it. Byron, I feel like Byron's going to be good this weekend too. I don't know if he wins, but I feel like Byron will be good this weekend. Byron plus 115. I like that 24th camp. I think that's is crazy as it is to say. I think that Byron probably is in a really good position to point his way to the playoffs. He's the one no one's thinking about. He's the one no one is thinking about at Hendrick. Everyone's thinking about Kyle Larson. I'm telling you now, I think Byron might be the sneaky one that creeps in and ends up being Hendrick's only horse in the fight. So maybe there's no Hendrick. I don't think there could be a world where there's no Hendrick cars. Because all of the conspiracy theories about how Hendrick owns NASCAR would collapse. Maybe that's what the sport needs. I don't know. You tell me. I've had a great time with you guys today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Big shout out again to Jeff Gluck for being on the show. You guys have gotten some of my betting picks. You can rewatch this all week long. The Motorsport Report. It's motorsport news for you. That's what we do here. Thanks for all the callers today. Great conversations as always. And make sure you follow me online at Garage Guy Chase. I've had a lot of interesting things I've been talking about this week. Just brain spitting. I'm just brain spitting right now, guys. That's what we do here. I like to brain spit. So much love, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you all on Sunday live for Martinsville. Don't be late, and I'll make sure I tell you the time just so you know. It's going to be Sunday. Green flag is at 2:17 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. I'll see you live here on my channel probably around 2:05, 2:10 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be live to call the race live. We'll be able to talk, shoot the shit, have a good time. Caution sweepstakes, as always. You can win a pack of 95 Upper Deck Series 2. So tune in. Don't miss it. And then we'll be back next Wednesday, maybe next Wednesday again. I don't know. I'm going to change. I'm going to ride Wednesdays out for the rest of the season, but we might change this show to Monday drop time going into the future. Much love, everybody. I'm out. Motorsport Report.